I spent $43 on a storage container last month for stuff I haven't touched in 3 years. I'm 73 and I'm done. Done pretending I need to keep things just in case. Done feeling guilty about that treadmill collecting dust. Done saving my good dishes for company that never comes. They call it decluttering. I call it reclaiming my life. 8 ways. That's all it took to transform my home from something I was managing into something that was taking care of me. And you can start today, right now, with what you already have. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not the problem. You don't need better organization. You need less stuff for the life you're actually living now. The life at 45, kids at home, hosting holidays, entertaining neighbors, that needed a lot of things. But that's not your life anymore. You're living a life that deserves space, light, peace, room to breathe without navigating an obstacle course. So if you're ready to stop organizing clutter and start creating peace, hit that subscribe button for Senior Decluttering Diaries. We're building a community that refuses to drown in stuff. We deserve better. All right, let's get into it. Way number 1, the one surface revolution. I want you to pick one surface in your home right now, just one. Maybe it's your kitchen counter, your nightstand, the dining room table, that chair in the bedroom that's become a laundry monument. Pick one surface, and I want you to completely clear it, everything off. Now, here's the key, and this is where most people mess up. You're not just moving the clutter somewhere else. You're making decisions. As you pick up each item, ask yourself, have I used this in the past month? Does it serve the life I'm actually living today? Not the life you lived 5 years ago, not the life you think you should be living, the life you're actually living right now. If it doesn't serve you, it goes. Trash, donate, gift, doesn't matter, just out. When you're done, leave that surface empty, or put just one beautiful thing on it, a plant, a photo you love, a bowl of fresh fruit. Then, and this is important, walk by it several times that day. Let your nervous system feel what peace looks like. Let your brain remember that empty doesn't mean incomplete, it means free. This one surface is your proof that you can do this. It's your evidence that less really is more. Way number 2, the guilt-free goodbye. Let's talk about that treadmill, or the bread maker, or the craft supplies for a hobby you thought you'd love, but honestly, you don't. We hold on to things because we feel guilty. We spent money on them, someone gave them to us, we had good intentions. But here's what I learned. Keeping something you don't use doesn't erase the money you spent. It just adds guilt to your daily life. The money is gone whether the item's in your house or not, but the guilt, the mental weight, the space it takes up, that only goes away when the item does. So I want you to identify 3 items in your home right now, 3 things you keep out of guilt, not love, not usefulness. Guilt. Maybe it's exercise equipment you swore you'd use, books you think you should read but know you won't, that fancy kitchen gadget still in the box. This week, those 3 things leave your house. You don't need to feel good about it. You don't need closure. You just need to let them go. Because every item you release is space you reclaim, and you, my friend, deserve that space more than any object does. Way number 3. The good stuff gets used. Raise your hand if you have dishes you're saving for special occasions. Yeah, me too. Had. Past tense. Here's what I realized one morning while eating cereal out of a chipped bowl. I'm 73 years old. Tuesday morning is the special occasion. If you're saving your good china, your nice towels, your fancy soap, your beautiful serving pieces for someday, today is someday. This doesn't mean you have to use everything. If you genuinely love those dishes and they bring you joy when you see them displayed, beautiful, keep them. But if they're boxed up in the garage, if they're in the back of a cabinet gathering dust while you use the stuff that's falling apart, swap them out. Use the good stuff. You've earned it. And here's the thing, when you use your beautiful things, they become part of your daily life. They remind you every day that you matter, that your ordinary moments are worth celebrating. And if you break a plate, you break a plate. Better a broken plate that brought you joy than a perfect plate that brought you nothing. Okay, I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've been saving for a special occasion that you're going to start using this week? Comment below and tell me. I read every comment and I love hearing your stories. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now for Senior Decluttering Diaries, because we're building a community of people who refuse to spend their golden years drowning in stuff. We deserve better, and we're going to get it together. All right, let's keep going. Way number 4, the Paper Purge. Let me guess, you have piles of paper somewhere in your house. Mail, newspapers, old bills, recipes torn from magazines, articles you meant to read but documents you're not sure if you need. Paper is the silent killer of peace in a home. So here's your paper rule, and it's simple. Handle it once. Mail comes in, open it immediately. Junk mail goes straight to recycling. Bills get paid or filed right then. If it's something you need to keep, it goes in one designated spot. Not on the counter, not on the table, not in a pile.
And those magazines and newspapers, if you haven't read them within a week, you're not going to. Let them go. Here's what I did. I created one mail station, a small basket on my counter. Mail goes in there. Once a week, every Sunday morning with my coffee, I go through it. Everything gets handled, nothing carries over. That's it. No complex filing system, no color-coded folders, just one basket and one weekly appointment with myself. The relief you'll feel when horizontal surfaces aren't covered with paper, it's life-changing. Way number 5, the room you never use. Be honest. Do you have a room in your house you basically never go into? A formal dining room that's become storage? A guest bedroom that hasn't had a guest in 2 years? A basement or spare room that's just holding things? Here's a hard truth. If you're not using a room, you're paying to store stuff you don't need. Every room in your home costs you money, in mortgage or rent, in utilities, in maintenance, in mental energy. And if that room isn't serving you, it's costing you without giving anything back. So I want you to pick one room, just one, that isn't earning its keep in your home. This month, that room gets reclaimed. Not organized, reclaimed. Everything in there that you haven't used in a year, it goes. Be ruthless, because that room could be your reading sanctuary, your craft space, your meditation corner, your place to just sit in peace. Or maybe you realize you don't need that room at all. Maybe it stays empty, and that's okay too. Empty doesn't mean wasted. Empty means available, ready, peaceful. But a room full of stuff you don't use, that's just expensive storage, and you deserve better. Way number 6, the drawer that lies. You know that drawer, the one that doesn't quite close, the one where you toss things you don't know what to do with, where pens go to die alongside rubber bands, old batteries, mystery keys, and instruction manuals for appliances you no longer own. That drawer is lying to you. It's pretending to be helpful. I'm keeping things, it says. But really, it's just chaos in a box. Today, we fix that. Pick your messiest drawer, just one. Empty it completely onto a table or counter. Now, only put back what you've used in the last 6 months and know where it belongs. Working pens? Yes. Pens that might work? No. Keys you actually use? Yes. Mystery keys from 3 houses ago? No. Everything else gets sorted, trash, donate, or locate to where it actually belongs. Here's the beautiful thing. Once you do this with one drawer, you'll want to do it with all of them, because the relief of opening a drawer and actually finding what you need without digging, without everything falling out, that's not a small thing. That's peace in action, multiple times a day. And listen, your organized drawer doesn't need to be Pinterest perfect with matching containers. It just needs to work. Function beats pretty every single time. Way number 7, the just-in-case trap. This is the big one, the thing that keeps us stuck more than anything else. I'm keeping this just in case. just in case I need it, just in case someone else needs it, just in case I lose weight, just in case I take up that hobby again, just in case, just in case, just in case. Let me tell you something I wish someone had told me years ago. Just in case is costing you your right now. Every time you keep something for a hypothetical future, you sacrifice space, peace, and freedom in your actual present. I kept clothes for 10 years just in case I lost weight. You know what happened? I felt bad about my body every time I opened my closet. For 10 years. I kept craft supplies just in case I wanted to scrapbook again. You know what happened? I felt guilty for not being creative. For years. Just in case isn't preparation, it's anxiety storage. So here's your new rule. If you haven't used something in a year, the case has closed. The exception are true seasonal items. Winter coats in summer, holiday decorations, that's it. Everything else, if it's been a year and you haven't touched it, you don't need it. And if you do need it someday, which is rare, you can borrow it, rent it, or buy it again. The money you might spend replacing something is nothing compared to the daily cost of storing anxiety. All right, let's do a quick check-in. Which of these 7 ways hit home the hardest for you? Is it the just-in-case trap, the guilt-free goodbye, the paper pile? Drop a comment below and let me know. And tell me, what's one just-in-case item you're finally ready to let go of? I promise you there's freedom on the other side of that decision. And if this is helping you, please subscribe to Senior Decluttering Diaries and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Now, let's talk about the final way, and honestly, this might be the most important one. Number 8, the permission to rest. Here's what took me way too long to understand. Your home doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to let you rest. We've spent our whole lives making our homes work for other people, making them nice for guests, kid-friendly for children, impressive for neighbors. But now it's time for your home to work for you. That means if you're tired, you don't have to vacuum. If you don't feel like cooking, you don't have to use all those kitchen gadgets. If you want to spend Saturday reading instead of organizing, that's not laziness, that's wisdom. Your home should support your rest, not prevent it. So what does that look like practically? It means keeping only the furniture that's comfortable, not the furniture that looks good. It means arranging rooms for how you actually live, not how they're supposed to be arranged. It means letting go of the idea that every surface needs to be decorated. It means if you're never going to iron again, you can get rid of the ironing board. If you're never going to host 12 people for dinner, you can let go of most of those dishes. If climbing stairs is hard, you can move everything you need to one floor. This isn't giving up. This is giving yourself permission to live the life you're actually living, without apology, without guilt, without pretending. You've spent decades taking care of everyone else. Your home gets to take care of you now. And anyone who judges you for that, they can keep their opinions and their clutter. You're choosing peace. So there they are. 8 ways to reclaim your life. 1. The one surface revolution. 2. The guilt-free goodbye. 3. The good stuff gets used. 4. The paper purge. 5. The room you never use. 6. The drawer that lies. 7. The just-in-case trap. 8. The permission to rest. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds great, but I can't do all of this. I'm overwhelmed just listening. Good news. You don't have to do all of this. You don't even have to do most of this. Just pick one. Just one way that spoke to you, and start there. Today. Because this isn't about transformation overnight. It's about one small choice that leads to one small change that creates one moment of peace, and then another and another. Before you go, I want to ask you something important. Which one of these 8 ways are you going to start with? Seriously, I want to know. Comment below and tell me.
I'm starting with the one-surface revolution. I'm tackling the paper pile. I'm saying goodbye to that treadmill. Because here's the thing, when you write it down, when you commit to it publicly, you're way more likely to actually do it. Plus, we're building a community here. We're all on this journey together. And if you found this helpful, do me 2 favors. First, hit that subscribe button for Senior Decluttering Diaries. We're putting out new videos every week to help you create a home that heals instead of stressing you out. And second, share this video with someone who needs to hear it.